Hi, everybody. I am Jake. That is Tyler. We are WISCO Fanatics. We are here to participate in Mental Health America Lakeshore's June Mental Health campaign. So, we have a series of questions that we have to answer. And the first one we are going to answer is, why is mental health important to you?
So for me, like I had my struggles when I was younger as a teenager. Jake knows, he was with me for a lot of those years. But to shorten it down, like it's mental health is important to me because I want to not only be able to help prepare my children, but I also want to be a role model to my children. So that's something that's probably my biggest reason for mental health being important to me, is to be a role model to my children and to the people who watch our show.
So, I'm going to piggyback on that a little bit because my daughter's about to be 2 years old next month, actually in June. So, um, I want to be a role model for her. I also have a stepson I want to be a role model for. So mental health is very important to me because of my son. I want to teach him that it's okay to have a breakdown every once in a while and talk about your feelings. And it's not a bad thing to feel as a man. And also it's important because mental health affects everybody. They always say that you don't know what somebody's going through. So be kind. And we like to spread kind candor. That's kind of our thing around here.
So, why is it important for men to acknowledge mental health, do you think?
So, right off the dome, I'm just going to say that too many men are just sweeping it under the rug. And you always hear the sayings, and we joke around on our show every once in a while. But right now, this is no joking matter because we're taking this serious, right? A lot of men just go, it is what it is, or, living the dream, or another day in paradise. It's like, I don't know why we do that. I think that we're just, programmed to do that when we're at certain jobs or certain things. But I think it's important for men to take a second, take a deep breath, and really realize how special life really is.
For me, I think another thing to put on with your "it is what it is," or um, for me, a lot of one that I use a lot is "it's fine." How was your day? It was fine. How was whatever? It was fine. For me, as far as men acknowledging mental health, it's it's really sad, honestly, for me to see the amount of men that commit suicide. It's That's really a thing that bothers me. Um, and we'll get into it in some of the further questions, but it's something that I've personally struggled with. But um, we'll go to the next one. So, what do you do, Jake, to take care of your mental health?
So, for me, and I'm not saying this is going to work for everybody, this is just my personal thing. Uh, I don't know if anybody is against this, but baby laughs definitely help everybody, right? And my daughter being 2 years old, if I know that I'm feeling a little down or I had a rough day at work, or, whatever it could be, right? It could be anything that could affect your mental health. When I'm around my daughter, I'm absolutely the happiest. Years prior when I was younger, a Packers loss would have killed me, to be honest with you. A Bucks playoff loss would have killed me. The Brewers maybe going on a slider in the season would have killed me, And now after the Packers lose, and they had a rough season last year, every time I swear this was God's work. I swear this was God's work. My daughter would be the cutest girl on the planet. Like, oh, let's play shapes, let's color, and it's just like now I'm not thinking about the Packers loss. So for me, if I could give advice, to younger generations or anybody or somebody my age, just find where your happy place is and just do that.
For me, as far as taking care of my mental health, it's been something that I've been more intentional about in the last couple of years, and it's reflected in the way that we do our show. But for me, what I've been trying to work on is just recognizing when I'm, going to have the periods of not feeling my strongest mentally, and just trying to recognize it and identify it, like, hey, I'm feeling a little off today, and just catching myself that I'm in that point. Not saying that I want to avoid feeling actual feelings, because I definitely do that. And like music is a thing that like keeps me there when I'm at that point, but just recognizing that I'm in that, and I'm like, this is the part of, the cycle mentally that I'm entering. I feel like that takes a little bit of the power away from it, and puts a little bit more of the power back in my pocket by acknowledging and recognizing it.
I agree. So we have this next one. Who is your emotional role model? Who taught you how to healthily take care of your mental health?
So this one's kind of tough for me, and it's gotten better over the last, I'd say, probably 4 or 5 years as I've matured and as situations have gotten better but when I was younger, like my dad and I, we didn't talk about feelings at all. So it's been tough. This is kind of a weird answer, but listening to books and podcasts honestly really made the difference for me. Books and podcasts, listening to, people that have done similar things to where I'm at, and, getting the change in mindset of, this is why you should be focusing on it. And knowing self-worth and, putting yourself first once in a while, because obviously those are important things to do, and focusing on it and intentionally wanting it to be better instead of it is what it is. And, just trying to accept that, things are never going to get better. I no longer have that mindset. I don't accept that things won't ever be better. I don't accept that. I strongly believe that things will be better because I'm working on it. So I expect things to get better now because I'm intentionally working on making things better. And yeah, listening to books and podcasts really gave me a much stronger perspective on it.
Okay, so first, before I answer, I gotta say, I am blessed to have a friend like you. I'm really lucky, man. I think you would be surprised by the amount of people that actually learned who they are through podcasts. I can say that mine isn't from a podcast, but Gary V has definitely helped me reshape my mind.
Yeah,
I love me some Gary V, dude, and that's where I learned the kind candor, and I loved it, and I just ran with it. So for me, it is my dad. Long story short, I ended up moving in with my dad when I was 13 years old. Had kind of a rough life in my mom's house where I was kind of forgotten about, and I had to try to figure myself out. And I made a really mature decision at 13 years old that I don't think anybody gives me credit for, but I knew at that moment that I needed my dad, and my dad needed me. My dad was going through some stuff too. So I think together we kind of helped each other out, but he also taught me that it was okay to talk about things, and it was okay to be mad, and it was okay to be upset, but you don't have to take it to the next level. My dad was I'm telling you, Packers games used to really get to me, and my dad was the one that was always calming me down. So I just want to say thanks to my dad, I guess. I'm getting a little choked up here.
Okay, so why do you think that men need to talk about their mental health more?
So for me, I have a few outlets. Obviously, I just thanked you. You're one of my outlets. So I think that when you talk about things that are on your mind or on your chest, anxiety can feel heavy at times. And it's not a physical heavy, but a mental heavy, right? And just talking about that and having somebody understand where you're coming from and your perspective or how you feel can actually make you feel a lot better. So I think that men need to talk about it so maybe they won't project their feelings onto other people instead of just sweeping it under the rug and it is what it is. And we've been saying that a lot, but that is a big thing that people say, it is what it is. Like, that's just them sweeping it under the rug. Instead of doing that, get yourself a best friend like me. And not many people do, because we've known each other for over half our lives, but get yourself a best friend like me so you can have somebody to go to, and you won't be projecting those angry feelings that you may have with other people onto people that don't deserve it. You know what I mean?
And it's important too, because like as men, I know this from personal experience, but whether it be a significant other or, friends, parents, children, having those conversations with somebody that you think might think less of you because you open up about it. It's been a really big thing where it's like, I would just rather figure it out myself than to tell you and you think less of me because I've told you things. That's a big struggle.
Yeah.
To this day is something I deal with.
I agree.
Is not wanting to share, even if I do share something, but only telling 50% of where I'm at mentally, and not the whole 100%, because I think if I did, it would overwhelm the person that I'm sharing it with. So and I'm not saying that I'm the only person that deals with these things, because I don't think I am.
Agreed.
So that's why I think it's important for men to talk about it, because I know that as a man, I don't always want to talk about it.
I agree with that, man.
But we have to, at some point we have to, whether it be, a therapist or having a close friend you can actually have these, heavier discussions with, or if it is your significant other, if you've gotten to that point of, like respecting each other's vulnerability and things like that, that's a point that everybody should strive to get to.
Yeah. Everybody needs somebody. That's what they say, right?
So
you want me to read the next one here?
I got this one. You get the last one.
Okay.
What stigmas around mental health have you experienced as a man?
Man. This is the one that I was really looking at. I was like, this is the toughest one to answer for me. Just the stigma of be a man. That one really, really gets to me. As a dad to a son, being a man has a whole different definition for me. I want him to be, and this is a saying that I learned a long time ago, I want him to be a good guy, not a nice guy, but I also want him to be kind to others. And I talked about this on the podcast, actually. I saw a meme and it said, be a kind person if you can't find the kind person, right? And that's something that I'm really big on. So the one that really just sticks out in my brain when I think about this is just whenever you're in a situation and maybe you are trying to talk about your mental health, and somebody responds to you and says, "Be a man," that's wrong. Okay, that man or woman or whoever you're talking to, they have issues that they have to talk about now. That's what I think. So for me, that's really the only one that sticks out to me.
This is one that I haven't discussed with a lot of people, is suicidal thoughts. I've never gotten to the point of action, but like I've gotten very strong on the thought aspect of it. And for people that I'm close to having found out, that I was at that point, it made it feel like a burden on my mind to, like, now that I have to go and work on it so that people don't think less of me because I've had these thoughts. And dealing with it in certain ways where, the people that I'm close to don't want to say things around me because they think it'll make me go back to that point. And trying to find the balance of being at that point, having people around me not wanting to quote unquote set me off to put me back in that point, but to be, somewhere where I can talk about it, but also not have the person that I'm talking to about it feel like, they can't fully express their thoughts around me. That has been a tough struggle.
That's a double-edged sword, man.
And it is. Because that brings me back to well, if it's going to make you, feel differently about me, next time I'll just keep it to myself. And like we've already said, that keeping it to yourself, it doesn't benefit you. And that's where I feel like I get to the telling, 50-60% of what I'm thinking and feeling instead of the whole 100, and not having somebody to share that vulnerability with. So that's why, getting back to the same question that we talked about, like, why do men need to talk about it more, and why is it important to acknowledge? It's at some point, and I still have this fear that eventually it'll consume me to a point where I can't stop myself from thinking about it. And like, I know it's never going to go 100% away. I'll still have bad days or anything like that, but those are those days where you need to have, a crutch to lean on. That person that you can be vulnerable with. Yeah. I think that's really important.
I agree. So last one, what advice would you give to young men regarding supporting their mental health?
So for me, it's two things. One would be to find that person, whether it be a parent, a friend, significant other, grandparent even. Like my grandpa's been pretty supportive of what we are doing, not only with the show, but also with our partnership with Mental Health America. He's been very supportive of that as well. Mm-hmm. But the other one, if we're talking young men, like if we're talking about the type of person who's, going to potentially apply for the WISCO Fanatics Mental Health America Lakeshore scholarship. So we're talking about high school young men that are going to be going into college. And I would think this would apply to even younger people, because this is where I feel that my mental health struggle started, was in probably, middle school, high school age, is strongly pursue working on not giving a shit what other people think about you.
Man, you are just reading my mind, dude. Seriously, you're reading my mind right now.
I spent so long like wanting people to like me that I got to points of not liking myself because I felt like nobody liked me. And, long periods of time where I felt that Jake was my only friend, and, that I needed people to like me. I don't give a shit what people think about me. Like, I like me. Like, I think I'm cool. It sounds dumb when you say it out loud, but it's taken a lot of work to get to that point where if, somebody doesn't like me or, what I'm doing, like, I don't care. I don't need anybody else's approval except my own, and for those people's opinions that I respect.
So I was thinking ahead, trying to see what I was going to say, but after hearing what you said, I'm going to change it up a little bit here. So for me personally, I've always been somebody with high confidence. And again, I can go back to my dad, and I can thank him for that, because my dad always told me to take care of number one. And he always told me it doesn't matter what other people think about you, right? That was always what my dad instilled in me. That was the first thing he gave me. Take care of number one. It doesn't matter what people think. You're not going to please everybody, right? And when you're a freshman in high school, and I moved to Kiel, when I was 14 years old, and that was when me and you started becoming friends. Dunk ball days, buddy. I really was trying to fit into a new school, a new environment, even though like I only lived a couple minutes away. I still grew up with different kids. Yeah. So soon I realized that it didn't matter what people thought about me, and my dad instilling that high confidence in me was really a key for my success in high school. And as I grew up, my confidence just got better and my give a shit got less. So with my stepson, if I could tell just a tiny little story, he's 10 years old, right? So he's in 4th grade. So that's literally like gossip central. I feel like 5th, 6th, 7th, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, right? All those ages, that's like gossip central. So my stepson comes home one day and he's like, "Oh, so-and-so said this about me." I was like, "Is it true?" And he's like, "Well, no, but now everybody's going to believe him." I'm like, "Okay, let them believe it then. I don't care. Why do you care?" And he was just like, "Well, because and he doesn't finish the sentence. He doesn't have a reason to care. So I'm telling him, and I'm like, "Aiden, listen, it doesn't matter, because no matter what people say, the truth is going to come out no matter what. Eventually it'll come out. The truth will come out. Right. So let them gossip. Let them say what they got to say. You just keep rocking these test scores. Yeah. You just keep being the best kid at recess, and you just keep not talking so much in class," because we had a problem with that last year. So
That doesn't surprise me though.
No, and the teachers always say, they're always just like, he's a great kid to have if he wouldn't interrupt me. If this. So I don't get mad at him because I always tell him like, Aiden, if you do your work and you're getting good grades, I can't be mad at you because technically you're doing what you're supposed to be doing there, right? He got the third highest math score. He got the highest reading score, and he was like middle high in science, social studies, or whatever it was, like the combined test. So I look at these test scores, and we get a message from his teacher, and I'm just like, man. And I coach him in football and basketball, and I watch this kid. He's tremendous. Honestly, he's tremendous. I'm jealous that I wasn't that good at 10 years old. But I'm also taking it in the same time and being like, this is a special time for me because I get to experience this with him as well, you know? So he's a great kid. I'm very proud of him. And I tell him all the time, like I've cried in front of him a few times. I'm not ashamed of that because I show him that even though I'm a big, strong guy and I get up early for work and I come home and I'm all dirty, I come down here and I take my notes for the show and I'm tired and I'm grinding, he can still see that I'm still just a human at the end of the day. And no matter if you catch touchdowns or you're throwing touchdowns or you're getting an A on a test, you're still human. You're going to feel stressed, and that's okay. You don't have to let it take you under. So he knows that he can come to me. He's told me that. There'll be times I'm sitting down here taking my notes for the show, and he just comes down and he's just like, can I tell you something? And I'm like, yeah, come on, man. Like I dropped the pen immediately. Like in the middle of him saying that, I know what's happening. Like I feel it intuitively. So I think that if I could tell young men one thing, it's okay to feel, guys. It really is. You don't have to put on this Joe Cool act. Like I work with a young kid at work now, and he always walks around like he's the coolest guy in the building. And I'm always like, bro, like you are just like every other 20-year-old I ever met, bro. You're not cooler than him. You're not cooler than him. You don't have to be Joe Cool. You don't have to put on a front. We're all people at the end of the day. So that's all I got.